Developers tasked to make Harry Potter video games have tried quite a few different approaches over the years. When games first started being made in conjunction with the films, each movie's game was unique depending on the platform it called home, spanning a wide array of genres. Harry Potter games have been third-person platformers, puzzle games, Gears of War-esque shooters with machine gun wands, pretty much anything you can think of. This week, we're going to look at one of the stranger genres the Harry Potter games have inhabited, turn-based RPGs, with Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban for the Game Boy Advance. People have always told me that some of the best Harry Potter games ever released were on handheld platforms, where most of them were turn-based RPGs. That making an RPG out of the Harry Potter franchise was one of the best things they ever did with it in the video game realm. While I don't disagree, this is one of the better Harry Potter games I've ever played, it does have its fair share of problems. This is one of those games where you know exactly what it is the moment you first see a screenshot or video of it. Prisoner of Azkaban looks exactly like you expect 2D turn-based RPGs to look, whether you're running around or in combat. There are some changes made to the formula to make it a little more kid-friendly. Monsters run away at the end of encounters instead of dying, and death itself for your party has no real consequence. You simply start over at the beginning of the dungeon, not the last time you saved. Not that it matters anyway, since you can save anywhere you'd like at any time. Surprisingly enough, for what is clearly meant to be a game for children, Prisoner of Azkaban is not lacking in detailed mechanics. There are a wide variety of spells and special abilities that you get throughout the game, and these special abilities are unique for each character. But the problem lies in their relative uselessness. The standard encounter is not difficult at all, simply requiring you to use one character to find a monster's weakness, then exploit it until they are dead. Hell, if you have Ron in the party, you can even cut the power of the enemy's attacks in half, making even the hardest boss encounters exceptionally easy. This is one of those games that would often get reviewed like such. Well, it's not great, but people that are really into Harry Potter might like it. Perhaps they might, but only if they can swallow some pretty huge differences in the story. Like so many licensed movie games, Prisoner of Azkaban struggles to conjure a significant amount of gameplay out of a 2.5-hour movie, and so it makes up its own scenarios. Every classroom seems to have a maze hiding behind some door, full of dangerous creatures. Remember that time that Professor Snape told Harry to get some ingredients from the supply dungeon for class, and then Harry had to fight a troll? No? You don't? But I digress. Every movie game has to do something to this effect, and I wouldn't really mind it if there were any real amount of variety within the dungeons themselves. Each dungeon uses about 5 enemies total for that specific area, discounting any bosses you might encounter. Thankfully, there is no repetition between dungeons, and there is a pretty decent amount of environmental variety between the different combat areas. Even better yet, you can wander all around the castle grounds, up and down the grand staircase, collecting chocolate frog cards, which you can use later in battle. Yet another underutilized combat mechanic. Prisoner of Azkaban for the GBA has a whole lot of problems, but it remains a pretty charming little turn-based RPG. At about 6 hours long, it doesn't outstay its welcome, and as long as you can handle some rough edges, you'll probably find a moderately entertaining experience here. If you'd like to find out if an old game from your childhood has stood the test of time, leave a comment below or send me a message. If you like what I'm doing, don't forget to like it and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.